Hello, welcome to this early summer garden tour. I'm so excited to share our garden with you right now because it's looking really good, I think. I'm really happy with how it is. There have been some failures already this year and some successes, but I'm just really happy. And starting with the foxgloves. These are foxgloves that I sowed last year and they are gorgeous. Some of them are the Camelot mix, which didn't actually flower last year. They're supposed to be one of those foxgloves that bloom the first year, so an annual foxglove instead of a biennial, which blooms the second year. But some of them bloomed last October and some of them are blooming now, and I don't care. It's just so beautiful to me. We do have a few foxgloves that are the Gloxiniflora, and they're blooming now. They are true biennials, like this one here, but they get so huge that with all the rain that we've been having this spring, they've just toppled over. We're kind of staking them up where we can. They're really gorgeous, kind of soft cream and like a lilac-y, pinky color. Really, really pretty. And then we have a kind of more of a white one of those back there. But everything's filling out and it looks really, I think really happy. The way that I was intending for this garden to fill out is to have a lot of whites and creams and pinks and purples, but everything to feel very soft and peaceful. And it definitely feels really peaceful to me. The hummingbird has been visiting us every single day, loves the salvias, loves the phlox, which are just starting to bloom. And they look huge. This is their third year in the ground. So this is their leap year. First year they sleep, second year they creep, third year they leap. And so this one's really leaping. And the hummingbirds, dragonflies, butterflies all really love these. The peonies were looking so beautiful just a few days ago, but they go over very, very quickly. We have several peonies that we've inherited from moving here, and then others that we've transplanted, and then a few that we've purchased. One of which was this white one. We put this in there, maybe the first season, so October of the first year that we were here, but it didn't flower or anything, so I was worried that it wouldn't flower. But we got a fair amount of blooms, maybe 5 or something. Not a whole lot. I'm hoping that our peony display can get better and better. And then we have this peony, which only produced 1 bloom, and it's only blooming now. But I think this one is really pretty. And this was definitely a bargain peony, so I don't really blame it for not really showing up to the party prepared. Just 1 bloom, a little bud here that kind of dried out. But yeah, pretty, so pretty. Our ivory halo dogwoods were completely decimated by the deer, but now, they look fantastic. I think especially these two here are looking really, really good. They were munched down, so low. So just to see them this big and happy makes me really happy. And while we're here, I'll show you our window boxes. Here, let me see if I can scooch over here we have a big toad that lives back in this border, which I think you saw. I think we might have showed you. All right, here we go. So here are the window boxes that we put in. I really like this paint color. This is, I think it's called like Cottage white or something, but it's kind of a creamy white color. And we have some coleus, some of this surefire white begonia, which is one of my favorites. I didn't expect to like it as much as I do, but it gets massive. The leaves are so glossy and huge, and they house tiny little, we have a tiny little frog that lives in there. This is like animal hour with Anna, but really it's so special. And it's right outside of where I do a lot of my work. So I just look out of the window and just see this frog that's maybe the size of my thumbnail. It's so good. Then we have some Dichondra Silver Falls, which are doing better on the other window box, but I'm hoping that these kind of cascade down and have a really romantic look. And then just some really pretty coleus. Can't remember the name of that. This isn't Wicked Witch, it's a different variety. But then we have some Supertunia Bordeaux, one of my favorite petunias. and it's looking really happy. Some euphorbia, diamond snow, I think this one is, or diamond frost. And then we have this raven sweet potato vine. We did have the sweetheart lime sweet potato vine in here, but because we've gotten so much rain, which has been great, but because we've gotten so much rain, it actually started to mold a little bit. It developed some kind of mildew. So we're trying again, and I think it's nice because the dark black, it's like a purpley dark color, it kind of matches the inside, the interior of the Bordeaux. So I think that's quite a nice pairing. And then we have a clematis here that we are training up and around. So that should be really, really nice. And I believe this is a purple clematis, but I don't know, our other clematis has bloomed, so I don't know what's going on with this one. She's just a little tired, maybe. Our Weigella was way too big to be planted here, and she's not super happy. So I'm gonna move her into our new border. She's starting to green out as well. Her foliage should be darker than that. And she didn't really produce many flowers, which the hummingbirds are supposed to love, but she didn't really show up this year. And then we have our Nepeta, or Nepeta, is one of my favorite plants. The leaves smell incredible to me. I absolutely love them. Kind of, sort of, not minty, but it's kind of minty, a little bit like rosemary, just a very herby kind of smell. Ooh, so good. And then this beautiful blue purple, which is probably my favorite, one of my favorite colors in the garden, is just that really beautiful zingy blue purple, which is kind of scattered throughout in the blue skies. Petunia, supertunia, which are kind of freckled throughout the garden. I really like that, and I think it blends really well with the Nepeta. We have some Midnight Masquerade penstemon, which we wanted to test it last year and really loved it. So we're gonna freckle this throughout as well. And I think that'll be really beautiful, just to kind of add different foliage colors here. Because we have the icy blue of this blue fescue grass, which creates almost like a border, and then the purple, and then the white variegation of the dogwoods, and then in the back we have that smoke bush. I mean, it's almost like iridescent. It has like a sheen on it that almost makes it look velvety. I don't know how if that like translates at all, but it's so nice. I just love it. And the veining of the leaves is like a light pink. So it's just a beautiful plant. And I thought it would be too shady here for it, but it seems really, really happy. And this was another one that the deer really loved and just mowed down. We have a hosta that, again, I don't mean to sound like a broken record. The hosta was eaten by the deer as well, but it came back. I mean, I couldn't believe it when it started coming through the ground, like poking through. I was so shocked, but I think this blue next to the purple, next to this white and green, next to this zingy green, and then the yellow flowers of that are gorgeous. Some more foxgloves. These are probably our biggest of the Camelot mix. What's that, maybe 3.5, 4 feet? Big ladies. And then we have a rose back here. This is I always forget the name of this one. Bridorella, Brindabella. Brindabella. I mean, it makes sense. I don't remember that. That's not like something that rolls trippingly off the tongue. But this is a really beautiful flower. Bert calls it the Beauty and the Beast flower. Beauty and the Beast rose. It really does. It looks like that, just like classic rose. Really gorgeous. The scent is really lovely as well. And then our ground cover. We're really trying to improve our ground cover game. And this has like become one of my all-time favorite plants. This lamium, oh my gosh. It kind of sparkles. Excuse me, I think I just spat. Sorry. It kind of sparkles, the leaves. They're so gorgeous. And these beautiful flowers, they kind of look like salvia blooms, like giant salvia blooms. But oh my gosh, they are so pretty. Let me clean that one up for you. There we go. But look how pretty that is. Like everything, it's kind of getting nibbled on. But thus far, things have gotten nibbled a little bit, but nothing's been, you know, decimated. So that's all we can hope for. Our little fairy roses are all budded up and they're about to bloom. The sedum, these are soft kind of pink sedum here. Those are gonna bloom very soon. We have some other annuals here, which the slugs have been really, really munching on. So I'm hoping that that kind of dies back. Hope the toad really like earns her keep. And we have this really gorgeous salvia here. This is one that the hummingbird visits every single day, multiple times a day. Oh, that color. And just the fact that the bracts are so dark, you really don't feel like you have to deadhead it at all. So pretty. And then we have some other little things in here. We have some heucheras and tiarellas and astilbes and things like that we've transplanted. Yeah, we'll kind of move along here. I'll show you some other things. One of the ground covers that we have here are strawberries, and we have a little one here, but usually the chipmunks get them before we do. So, but this, I mean, it is really, really fun just to come out here and harvest as and when. Good girl, Georgie. I just want to check on Georgie. She'll be wandering around behind. But yeah, this buddleia here, which is a beautiful buddleia, butterfly bush. My idea was to have 2 butterfly bushes just kind of making an archway, a natural arch above our front door. I thought that would be gorgeous. I love the blooms, these lilac-y colored panicles with a bright orange center, really gorgeous. And they do, it's that color blue that does like sing out in the shadier areas. But I think it's too shady for them here, even though we cut back that branch. And I also just think they're too close to the Brunnera, which is getting massive. So I think I'm gonna move them onto our hill, which right now is kind of like a hilly meadow. There's lots of wildflowers and lupins and really pretty things on it. But that area is, I feel like it kind of works better with a more wild, unkempt kind of feeling. And that's more what a buddleia is. It's very wild and, you know, the branches are kind of splayed out. And so I think I want something with a little bit more structure up by the front door. I just think that'll feel more like an entrance. But they are beautiful, and I'll do my best to transplant them properly. We're leaving a few spots open for perennials as we find them. Our hostas here are blooming, which I know some people don't like the blooms on hostas. I think they're gorgeous. They don't die back particularly well, but I do think they're beautiful. Again, a really soft purple color, really nice. Just really nice. And then this white foxglove, you know, most foxgloves have those little kind of polka dots inside, leopard print almost. This one actually doesn't have that feature. So it's like a true alba. It's really pretty. Oh, that sounded like the hummingbird. Maybe we'll see her. Some daisies that I planted from seed, started from seed last year. They're all budded up. Looks like they're gonna bloom. Our geraniums, oh my gosh, they bloomed these beautiful white blooms, so gorgeous. And again, just like imagine, I just want you to imagine like the most beautiful, it's like fresh, citrusy, but subtle, like a lemon fruit, or a lemon flower. Just picture that, like a lemon flower. So good, right? Here, I'm gonna make you smell it. So good, right? He's gonna let us. It's so good. So, let me check on George one more time. Nana. George. Stay a little closer. Have you seen Georgie yet today? Here's George. She's doing good. Her hair is a little scruffy, but that's my fault, not yours, George. We planted, these foxgloves from seed. I love this lavender colored foxglove. This might be my favorite, actually. Isn't that a gorgeous color? And then we have these Canterbury bells that I grew from seed. Such a pretty color, such a pretty flower. They look almost like they should be, like they're a blown up version of what these flowers should be. I think that's because I'm so used to seeing bell-shaped flowers that are smaller, like lily of the valley or something like that. So when I see a bell-shaped flower that's this big, it just looks, I don't know, it makes me feel like I'm miniature. Certain plants make me feel like I'm looking at something miniature, like lily of the valley. But these make me feel like I'm tiny, and this is like a giant version of a flower. Anyway, that's probably just me, but I think these are gorgeous. And another biennial that's really fun. I just started a bunch more of those, actually. And there's also this one that is white, really pretty. The only problem with these is that we didn't stake them early enough, and our stakes aren't very tall. So they're floppy. We transplanted a fern from the property. This is an interrupting fern. We planted this on the dug this up and transplanted this. And I think it goes really, really well in here. And then we have a few hostas, some alchemillomalus, hosta, little Solomon seal, beautiful pulmonaria here, nice fuzzy leaves, tiarella that has these sprays of light pink flowers. Bleeding hearts are going over. Our juniper doesn't look super happy. She's putting out some new growth, but she had a lot of dieback, and junipers just don't seem very happy here. Maybe it's our soil pH. I'm not entirely sure, but they don't love it here. But I love blue foliage. Our blue spruce is doing super well, and that blue color is just one of my favorites. We have a winter creeper here, a euonymus here. It's reverting back to the all green, but it is a yellow and green variegated one. And let's see, our buddleia here, you can see the structure of it. Kind of wild, fun, beautiful. I love it, but maybe not for the front, for that archway that I was talking about. I think I'll do something different. But very pretty, and I am excited to enjoy it this year with those blooms. We have a few hanging baskets framing the door, but they're the same as the surefire white begonia, so they're kind of simple. Our octopod has the clematis on it, and that did bloom. We got 4 blooms on it. Ooh. But it was really incredible. I mean, they looked so stunning. It's a pink with a white margin. And again, a really soft pink. This one's being eaten. Not by me. I made it look like I was going to eat it, but not by me. Don't worry. And then back here, there were some daisies. We have a lot of wild daisies. Hey, George. There's a lot of wild daisies on the property, as well as tons of wild foxgloves. Anemones, tons of anemones. If you look here, we had a whole flush of white anemones earlier in the season that I dug up and transplanted around because they were underneath the porch. But now we have these beautiful wood anemones, and they have these little collars, almost like lion's manes or something. Really beautiful. And there's just so many of them. I'm not sure if you can really tell, but if you look in here, there's just a bunch of them kind of shining out. And the little flowers are so sweet. They're really lovely, very delicate. Some anemones the petals are a little bit thicker, but these are just so delicate. We're eventually going to fix all this area. I want to do a little bird bath there. But here's one of our native hydrangeas. believe this is a native hydrangea. We were talking to somebody who said that it was. So I've just assumed that that's what it is, but I can't remember the variety. But it's a really beautiful, very open lace cap hydrangea. And yeah, I love it. Huge this year, bigger than it's ever been. And again, another thing that was mowed down by our dear friends. Our dear friends. And we have another clematis climbing up here, another clematis over here, which I don't need to show you, but it's the same, it's mirrored like it was between the window boxes on the other side. You all right, Cheech? So we have that. I did Morning Glory up this trellis last year, which I absolutely loved. I thought it was so romantic and beautiful. We got 2 blooms, and that was in November after all of the leaves had died. So we didn't really grow it for the flowers, but the foliage was gorgeous going over it. You know, that heart-shaped foliage just cascading over, really, really pretty. So here are some of the foxgloves that are just wild here. They just grow everywhere and they're beautiful. They're this soft yellow and they have almost like a rippled appearance on the inside instead of being those very defined circles like most traditional foxgloves. These ones are more like kind of soft ripples, and the shape of the flower as well is a little bit different. They almost look like little fish or whales or something. It's like a big open scoop instead of just the trumpet shape. They have this really, here, let me move it. Oh, there you go. They're just really, really beautiful. This whole area is going to be revamped, but we're just letting the foxgloves bloom and letting all the anemones do their thing. There are wild phlox everywhere. I actually dug some up and used them in some pots on the front porch, and they're purple and pink and really, really pretty. And yeah, I'd like to take you along when I figure out what I'm gonna do in this garden. The shape is kind of funny, the lighting is kind of funny. My brain is kind of funny about this area. I'm just not sure about it. So I'll see what I can do. But for right now, we're planting up some of the stuff that we've been loving, like Haconocloa. I planted up a really pretty rose-shaped rhododendron. It's white in the shade, and that was really pretty. So I want to show you our backyard, because last time I showed you the backyard, it was snow, I think there was snow on the ground and everything was bare. So we're just rounding the bend on the other side of the house. Had to put Georgie inside. And here we have a beech tree that's really beautiful. I mean, it's a really tall tree, but because this part of the property is raised up and then it slopes down really dramatically, this is, you know, the canopy is like pretty close and we can enjoy these beautiful leaves. I love the way it looks kind of hanging over the pathway. Really nice. We have a dogwood here. One of our really big problems is the wild grape. It likes to climb all over everything. And so we just spend a lot of time culling it. So there's an example of it. It's the one with the red vine with those. I mean, it looks so Art Deco to me, the leaves, don't they? They look very like an Art Deco stencil or something. Really pretty. Here are some other flowers back here. I think these were definitely planted here by somebody. Not the foxgloves, but some of the sweet williams, and there's a columbine or two back here. Yeah, you can see it there. And there's a giant interrupting fern. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, while we're working this area through, we have a whole plan for it, which I think we shared, but while we're working on that, budgeting for that, this is a pretty nice backdrop for the backyard. So we'll head on over to the vegetable patch now, because I'd like to show you the progress over there. Ooh, chipmunk. This is the biggest tree on our property. She's huge. You really can't tell unless you have something to compare it to. Beautiful, beautiful oak tree. I absolutely love her. And there's moss growing at her feet. She's a really wise, beautiful tree. So the craziest thing happened last night. It snowed. Can you believe that? Middle of June. It's a little garden prank for you. I apologize. It does look like snow though, doesn't it? They're just seeds from one of the trees over there. But they come down like crazy. They're so soft and fluffy, like cotton. But it really does look like a little dust of snow. Anyway, in we go. Après vous. So the veggie patch is looking pretty good. These are the peas that we sowed in April. They have not flowered yet, but I think they are a later flowering pea. But I got these actually for the cottage garden, and then I didn't have any peas for the veggie patch, so I just planted them in here. But I got them for the cottage garden because the peas themselves, the flowers, are absolutely gorgeous. They're pink and purple, and they're bicolor, really gorgeous. So I'm excited for these to flower, both for the flowers and for the peas. Here we have our lettuce bed, and I've just sown a few more heads of romaine lettuce so that I can replace that one that's empty there, that spot. Here we have our potatoes, and I think I can show you just some footage that was like less than a month ago. Actually, I should have written it on here. I think I did. Okay, on the 12th of May, and today is the 21st of June. So that's pretty crazy that they're already this big after so short a time. Really hefty stalks. But that's going to be a lot of potatoes, which is awesome. But in addition to that, we planted this whole side chock full of potatoes as well. And these are starting to come up. I mean, it looks ridiculous having all of these seeds everywhere. I'm aware, but you know, we'll come through and maybe do something about that. But look at all these potatoes are coming up too. And some of those were just potatoes that had chitted in our pantry that we plunked in the ground, and they're coming up. Here's some more parsley. We're going to turn this into an herb bed. This has a few red cabbage in the front and then some basil. Again, some of the basil is getting eaten, but what are you going to do? Here are some peppers and some eggplant that I started from seed. We had some trouble with the seed starting this year. Basically, I started all of my seeds back in February, March, and then I brought in a little pack of pansies that I was really excited about putting outside, and when all the seeds were pretty far along, and unfortunately it was like from a really reputable place, but unfortunately they were infested with aphids and fungus gnats, and so then all of the seed trays that I had started, I mean, so much work, just got infested. And yeah, it was kind of a bummer. We ended up starting over again just because it was really weakening the seedlings. And so it was a little bit late at that point to start things like, especially peppers, but a lot of our flowers that I wanted to start, and some of the perennial flowers and things like that. But that's okay. We still have a fair amount of peppers, and I think they'll do all right. Some of them are starting to bud up, so hopefully we do get some peppers. These are all bell peppers. We have some eggplants. I've done a lot of eggplants this year. We realized last year that the thing we ate the most in the garden was greens and zucchini and tomatoes. Those were probably the things that we ate the most every single day. I mean, the majority of our lunches were garden grown, and we would just grab some zucchini, maybe some corn and some tomatoes, arugula, or whatever we had. We didn't have as much lettuce or kale or anything like that because everything was just bolting or being eaten by the deer. But so this year we really tried to prioritize the things that we reached for the most and that we were most excited about. So anything that we could just grab and go, have a really nice meal from, lettuce, grabbing something like an eggplant or a zucchini, chopping it up and doing a little saute, things like that we wanted to do a lot more of. So we have really planted a lot of eggplant, peppers, and zucchinis this year. And then we have some little flowers along the outside, some nasturtiums, some calendula. We're going to be doing tripods in the center of these, or quad pods, for cucumbers in the corners of all the beds. I'll show you the setup on the other side here in just a minute. We haven't done this one yet because we still haven't harvested the garlic and prepped everything else. Here we have some kale. This is a curly kale, and then tons of cauliflower. I think we have 12 plants here, so that should be fun. They're starting to flower up, form up, head up. I don't know, but they're starting to form their little heads. And then here's our lettuce bed, one of a few. So we have some of this curly bib, I think. We have a red lettuce. This is probably what we pick from the most in the garden. And then we have a butter crunch, I believe. So here we have our tomatoes. We have 2 beds of tomatoes, and then we have a ton of tomatoes in pots. And I'm just gonna come through and kind of flick these little guys. The reason that we do that is just to help them pollinate. This is we're doing kind of the stake and weave situation, which is working really well. We've done that before and it's really successful. But these are mostly the variety that I love the most, which is sun gold cherry. And actually I think this entire bed is sun golds. We have some purple basil, nasturtiums, and then some cucumbers as well in here. I'm really excited about this. It's nice to have the structure in place in time, right? So that's been really, really good. And I do think it's nice to add a little bit of height to the garden. Otherwise it can feel very downcast. But I also love creating things out of, like birchwood and things like that. I'm a big fan of that higgledy-piggledy, run and gun. What's in the backyard? How can I repurpose it kind of look aesthetically, not just for convenience and the wallet, but also aesthetically. I think it's really nice. Here's the cucumber quad pod. And our cucumbers are actually looking pretty good. So this one's a couple feet already and flowering, which is great. Here's our zucchini bed. And look, we have tons of zucchini, you can see there. And here is a nice green one, you can see, dark green. There's tons on these plants, which I'm really excited about. And then I put some radish in here. And we have a bunch of annuals. So this was my plan last year, but they were just destroyed. But I really want this whole thing to just be a backdrop of color. And because I have some kind of organized color in the other borders, I really wanted this to be like a riot of color. Just, especially Bert loves reds and blues and oranges, so I just wanted to be able to put tons and tons of color back here and just look out here and just see a wall of color. So obviously that's not happening right now. It's kind of a carpet of spotted color, but I want a wall of color eventually. Then we have corn over here, and we succession planted the corn. It's very small, but we have corn on the other side as well. So my vision is we'll have a little bistro set, wooden bistro set with a wall of flowers on either side. We've planted some cucumbers, some squash, zucchini and pumpkins as well that I'm hoping to train along the back fence. And so we'll just be able to sit at the bistro set, surrounded by flowers, looking out at our veggie patch, listening to all the birds. What a dream, right? Wouldn't that be lovely? But yeah, the kale is doing so much better than it was last year, which makes me really happy because I use kale so much in cooking. And I think all of our, I'd say 70% of our lunches now are garden grown. Look at this backdrop of ferns. Isn't that beautiful? Ferns are one of my favorite plants. I absolutely love ferns. So the fact that we inherited that is really exciting. Oh, and then we've planted beans all along this side. So then and they're pole beans. So those should climb up this side of the fence, which will be really, really nice. We had a lot of beans last year and those were really good. So here's our garlic that we planted last year that we didn't expect anything to come of them. I mean, they did nothing until April, I think, something like that. And then they started coming up and it was so exciting. They came up with the tulips that we had planted here. Those are really nice. And then we'll clear those eventually and we'll fill this bed up with something else. I think probably more lettuce or arugula or kale or something like that. That's my guess. But why don't I show you the front beds in the cottage garden and the porch bed. And then I think I'll show you the porch. Just show you the porch. All right. So we have more Nepeta here. Are you surprised? I have Nepeta all throughout the property and I want to put more in and divide the stuff that we have and plant it elsewhere because I just love it. And this one is, I mean, is so huge. Look at that, it's huge. It's a ginormous Nepeta. And this one didn't come with a tag, so. Oh yeah, no wait, hold on, I think it did. There's a few of them that didn't come with a tag. Drop more, so drop more. Big one. 10 to 18 inches tall, 18 inches wide. You are lying to me, drop more. You are lying, or you just love it here. And you're just having a grand old time. But that's huge. That is crazy. That's like 4 feet. And at least 2 feet tall. Yeah, right. So in here we have Nana's globe. Yeah, this little evergreen. She's nice, soft, pretty. We're gonna revamp this. Sadly, we're gonna have to lose the lilac tree here. She didn't really bloom that well this spring, so. But she's dying out, covered in mushrooms, some kind of fungal problem, so we're gonna have to take her out, which is sad, but it'll leave a beautiful opportunity, I think. More Nepeta repeated throughout. We have a quince, which is peach colored. We have some aster for fall interest, which is a really purple color. And this porch border is sort of soft peach and purple. That's the color scheme in here. So yeah, those are, for me, colors that I absolutely love, and I think they make a nice pairing. We have some kind of a peach colored echinacea that I just had to transplant, and that one's really, really pretty, and it looks like it's budding up. More Nepeta, the peace rose, really beautiful. More wild strawberries throughout. Here's an artemisia that has a really nice scent to it. Gorgeous geums. Oh my gosh, the geums were so gorgeous. And this was covered in alliums as well. I'd love to maybe show you those because that was really gorgeous. The alliums all over the place were really beautiful, and they were blooming at the same time as the geum. So that backdrop was really nice. The sedum is huge as well. A lot of the things in this bed have exploded. We also have tons of hyssop, which is coming up, and those are gonna be purple. And I've just cut these back so they get a little bushier and so that they don't crowd out the salvia, which is already being crowded out. Look at that. The geum is just crowding that out, and so is the sedum, so we're gonna have to move that. But we have some achillea as well, yarrow. And then here's our new borders. So actually, here, come this way. We'll show you the other way around. I got some parsley because we're making enchiladas tonight. So the roses have gone over. We had tons of David Austin roses in here, and I'd love to show you those, but there are a few that are still going. I think my favorite in terms of scent and height and glory would have to be the Alnwick roses. Really beautiful. The scent on those is like intoxicating, gorgeous. And then the Olivia Rose, I think. Yeah, Olivia Rose, I think. Those were beautiful. Softer, gentler, more delicate scent to them. And a softer pink, not as bright of a pink as the Alnwick. Our crab apples are still doing okay. They're being eaten, but here's our little wild meadow area. But we're gonna have to do something different there and figure it out, but that's gonna be a slow process because I really don't mind it and I think it's beautiful. There's tons of cow parsley up there. I did some sowing of some different things, and we have iris, different irises planted up there. There's a purple iris that is just gorgeous on the hillside. And we had tulips all throughout, and the lilacs, when they're in bloom, they were really gorgeous. And we have some winter interest up here. We have some arborvitaes and some spruce. We have a dwarf Alberta and a fat blue, something like that. What's she called? But then we just planted some more interrupting ferns right in the front of the border, because it's a weird border. It gets sort of shady on the edges and then full sun in the center. But look at how big this is. I mean, just for comparison. Look. Isn't that crazy? I don't know. The reason they call it an interrupting fern, I just got to meet some fern lovers who were like fern experts. And that was really fun because I love fern so much. But they were telling us that this is called an interrupting fern just because this is how they reproduce here. And so it interrupts the little leaflets there on each of them. And those little brown spots are not dying, dying leaves or anything like that. That's actually the reproductive organs, spores. So here's the Alnwick rose. The windstorm and rainstorm kind of took it down, but look at this one here. Look at that little flower. They get bigger than this for sure. I want to hide this one because this one's dead, but look how pretty. It's like a little buttercup. And I wish you could smell that. It smells so good. We have our little pea tripods here for sweet peas. We plunked a tomato in the center, and those are doing pretty well. They're getting munched on quite a bit. But yeah, I love doing the cottage border with a mix of edible and ornamental. So we have artichokes, we have eggplants, which the flowers on eggplants, especially the one I have over here, beautiful purple, like soft purple flowers that look very thick, gorgeous. We have tons of kale, we have purple kale, we have some zucchini here. And the tripod is matched on this side. Here's another rose. This was sort of like a cheap bare root rose, and it was supposed to be a soft pink, but it kind of turned out more reddish pink. So I'm not sure that this is gonna be her permanent home. She might end up somewhere else. But this one's doing pretty well. When we planted this tomato, it looked like it was gonna die. And the fact that it's put on some growth and doesn't look like it's as desperate anymore makes me happy. We have tons of red cabbage. So the border itself is surrounded by supertunias, purple and blue supertunias, and blue, but purple or red cabbages. But they look blue, and I think that'll be really, really nice. Plus we love cabbage. Using it to kind of bulk up a salad or making slaw, or Bert makes a really great Ethiopian dish with cabbage, red cabbage, that's delicious. And there's Swedish recipes with cabbage and stuff like that, boiled cabbage. So we love eating cabbage, delicious. There's lots of snapdragons. We got some more Russian sage, which I love, another one with great scented leaves. Some more echinacea that we transplanted from other places in the garden. A lot of this has just been transplanted. All these phlox have just been transplanted from other places in the garden that were here when we arrived. We have Nicotiana, which is ornamental tobacco. And honestly, that's kind of become our trap crop because it's so susceptible to aphids and earwigs and anything that wants to eat it. We have statice growing all throughout, which is going to be a wonderful one to dry and hang up in the kitchen, which I love to do. So yeah, and then I did a few different dahlias. So I have these ones here and a few more just in some pots on the porch. So here's one of our dahlias. This is a Thomas Edison, and I planted the tubers in a really shallow bowl with no drainage and just put some cocoa fiber, like cocoa coir, on top, and just kept them evenly moist. For a few months, they started to sprout, and then I just planted it on, and now here it is. So that was a super easy process. And I'm so glad that I did that because it looks really happy and it's starting to bud up. These are a really pretty purple dahlia. But one of my favorite annuals, I'd say, Play in the Blue salvia. Another one that the hummingbirds love, and the butterflies. So that's just really, really nice. But we have different texture here with some irises that I transplanted from the meadow hill. Some daylilies, which I kind of accidentally transplanted those, but that's okay. They provide a really nice strappy foliage. And yeah, the phlox, some more echinacea. And I love that idea of like making it a true cottage garden. So you can come out just out of the house and, you know, pick some things for dinner right there. Be able to come out here and harvest some eggplant, tomatoes, zucchini, kale. And maybe we'll fill it in. You know, there's a lot of space that I haven't filled in yet. It's just been a slow process because it can get a bit spenny. So yeah, but strawberries, you know, that kind of thing. Just want to be able to come out here and harvest while I'm amongst the flowers. That sounds really dreamy to me. I also transplanted a bunch of daisies, white daisies that were really beautiful. Here we have a baptisia that was supposed to be, I think I still have the tag here. No, I must have put it away. But it was supposed to be a pink truffles, and it was a vibrant highlighter yellow. I was like, that doesn't really match. But the foliage on this is really gorgeous. It looks like eucalyptus. It's very glaucous, really pretty. And then the fairy, we got 2 more of these fairy roses just because we love them so much. I think these are just called landscape roses because they're a little bit smaller and you can tuck them in anywhere. But they're so pretty and delicate. Look at those little blooms. And I'm just, yeah, I didn't expect to like these as much as I did. I think we got them because they were on sale or something initially. And then they were just huge and they produced flowers for the entire season last year. I mean, they were still blooming in November. They were so gorgeous. I really, really love this one. And I think they're such sweet little flowers. They also dry really well. So I have those hanging to dry in the kitchen. But look at this delphinium. Absolutely beautiful. I really want to add a bunch of delphiniums to the back of this border. I've tried to do them from seed and they were just destroyed by the slugs the second I put them in the ground. So every day I come out here, every morning, as part of my morning routine, I come out and pick off a bunch of slugs and throw them into the woods. That's fun. I usually use like a leaf as a scooper and try and get off as many as I can. But because it's sort of part of the process now, it's all right, you know. And this has survived, which is really, really nice that it's here. Now we're back where we started. Let me show you our porch really quick and then we'll say goodbye for now. I just want to show you really quick this fairy rose. This one's doing really, really well. And then we have more of the cabbage that just carries on this way, but we have some verbena. This is imperial blue verbena. And again, the hummingbirds and butterflies love this. And then Supertunia snowdrift. But we have those kind of across here and then some deep purple salvia there, some peppers and pots and things. And then we have some sweet peas climbing up here that we're gonna kind of string together. Eventually, I think we're gonna do a rose that climbs up here and goes up onto the roof of the porch. But here, come with me, I'll show you our little porch, which is, there's usually a table back here, but we moved that out into the garden because it's been so nice and sunny. We've been collecting ferns from the property and putting them in pots to enjoy on the porch. And look at that. Oh, the owl is going, the barred owl. She's going right now. She usually starts around this time, which is such a special owl for me. But anyway, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I love it. The furniture is a little bit messy, but we put our fiddly fig out here because she was not happy inside. It's quite dark. We live in a woodland, you know, so it's quite dark inside and she wanted a little bit more light than we could give her. We have a couple of pots. Let me show you this one here. We were using as kind of a theme in the garden these old barrels, these wooden barrels, sort of a cool, dark, cool as in color, not like these are some cool barrels, you guys. A barrel that they were just on sale, so we just got a bunch of them, and then we've placed them throughout. Another surefire white begonia, so happy in the sun, so happy in the shade, like such a good plant. And then another coleus, really happy, beautiful coleus, and then this gorgeous Burwalia. I think it's Illumination or something like that. And then just some really fun, Bert planted this planter up. He did all of the big ferns. And this planter has some of those foxgloves in it. He almost created like a little flower arrangement here. And then we have some other ones. This is with a double white impatient, which is really sweet, but I think they need a little bit more sunlight. And then another one of the big old ferns, and some little pots over here. We like to slowly fill up these little areas, but usually there's a little table and chairs here we can eat breakfast at or lunch with a nice view of the backyard. And then I have my koshi chimes out here. It's really, I don't know, romantic and nice. And then we have a couple of hummingbird houses. We're really hoping that they'll just come here, but they do make the cutest little houses in the woods. So I'm happy for them to do that. Okay, well, that's all. We're all done with our tour. It was a really long one. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'm just really excited to be able to kind of archive where the garden is now, because I have so many ideas for it and I'm excited to see it evolve. So thanks for being here while I'm on that journey. Yeah. Thanks for joining me. I hope you have a really awesome rest of your day or your night, and yeah, take care.